The roar of bulldozers shattered the dawn, tearing through the quiet of my orchard like a chainsaw through silk. I bolted upright in bed, heart pounding, as the grinding of machinery and the shouts of a construction crew invaded my home. Throwing open the curtains, I stared in horror at the scene outside my window. My peach trees, lovingly tended for years, lay uprooted, their roots clawing at the air. A concrete mixer churned relentlessly, and a crane loomed over my barn, swinging steel beams like a giant's toy. My lammy sanctuary was being gutted before my eyes. I stumbled outside in my robe, mud sucking in my boots, and caught sight of a woman in a neon visor, clipboard in hand, directing the chaos like a conductor of destruction. This wasn't a mistake. This was an invasion. My name is Daniel Harper, a retired firefighter who traded sirens for solitude, city clamor for the rustle of leaves on my 5-acre plot in Willow Creek. I'd spent 7 years shaping this land-pruning fruit trees, mending fences, and clearing brush with my own hands. It was my refuge, a place where I could breathe after decades of running into burning buildings. But that morning, as I stood in the churned-up earth that used to be my orchard, I realized I was facing a different kind of fire. The woman with the visor was Linda Voss, president of the Willow Creek Homeowners Association, and she was building a swimming pool on my property. Linda didn't even look up as I approached, my voice shaking with barely contained fury. "What the hell are you doing to my land?" I demanded. She glanced at me, her smile as sharp as a razor. "Oh, Daniel, don't be so dramatic. This is community green space. Always has been. The HOA's just improving it." Her words hit like a slap. I'd paid taxes on this land since the day I bought it, had the deed and surveys to prove it. I told her as much, my hands balling into fists. Her smile didn't waver. "If you think there's a mistake, we'll sort it out at the next board meeting. For now, stay clear. You're holding up progress." Progress. That word burned as I watched a backhoe rip through the raised garden beds I'd built with my late wife, Emily. The crew blared pop music, tossing empty soda cans into the dirt, while Linda sipped iced tea from a monogrammed tumbler, directing workers to place a cabana where my cherry tree once stood. My fence hand hewn from cedar was half demolished to make room for the pool's excavation. This wasn't just trespassing. It was a calculated land grab, orchestrated by a woman who treated the neighborhood like her personal fiefdom. I stormed back to my house, mud trailing behind me, and dug through my files. The deed, plat map, and topographic surveys were all there, clear as day. The HOA's boundary stopped 25 feet short of where the pool's concrete foundation now sat. They hadn't just crossed a linethid built an aquatic empire in my backyard. I called the county office and learned no permits had been filed for a pool of this scale. The HOA's hotline was a dead end, looping me to a voicemail I knew would go unanswered. So I grabbed my phone and started filming. The broken fence, tire tracks across my garden, delivery trucks unloading turquoise pool tiles in my driveway. When Linda strutted by, I asked her on camera if she had proof the HOA owned this land. Her response was a smirk. "Sweetheart, the HOA owns everything you see. You're just borrowing your little patch." That clip would later spread like wildfire, but at the time, it only fueled my resolve. That night, Linda showed up at my door with 2 HOA board members, Greg, a nitpicker who once fined me for a non-compliant mailbox, and Susan, who treated every weed like a felony. Linda handed me an envelope with a $600 check and a pre-written statement absolving the HOA of liability. "A goodwill gesture," she called it, her voice dripping with condescension. I stared at the check, then at her. "You think this covers 3 tons of concrete on my orchard?" Her eyes narrowed. "Don't make this harder than it needs to be, Daniel. Courts hate land disputes. Take the money and be a team player." I shut the door in her face and called my cousin, Ethan, a real estate attorney with a reputation for making HOAs regret their bylaws. Ethan didn't hesitate. "Send me everything, photos, documents, that video, and get ready to own that pool." His confidence was a lifeline. By midnight, I'd sent him drone footage of the construction, GPS coordinates of my boundary markers, and close-ups of the concrete slab swallowing my trees. Ethan's reply was one word: gold mine. The next morning, while Linda and her crew debated poolside lighting, I launched my drone again, capturing the full scope of the violation. A 75-foot pool, a deck, plumbing trenches, and a cabana that encroached past the oak I'd planted for Emily. Reviewing the footage, I noticed something curious. Several materials bore the logo of Crestview Construction, a company I'd seen on a truck driven by Linda's brother-in-law. A quick search revealed Crestview had pocketed $400,000 in HOA contracts over 2 years, all approved by Linda. Ethan's response was immediate. This isn't just trespassing. It's fraud and conflict of interest. We're looking at a multi-million-dollar case. I became a one-man evidence machine, printing every receipt, HOA notice, and survey map. The county clerk confirmed no permits existed for the pool, meaning Linda had either misled contractors or ignored the law entirely. Ethan arrived that weekend, his old pickup rattling down my driveway. He spent hours measuring the land with a laser scope, marking boundaries, and noting where the pool's plumbing undermined my barn's foundation. "They're 15 feet into your property," he said, shaking his head. "This is structural trespass. We're not just suing for damages, we're going for punitive." Then I found the smoking gun, an HOA newsletter from 8 months prior, where Linda hyped a community oasis with a pool design that matched the current layout, right down to the cabana's placement squarely on my land. Ethan grinned. "This proves intent. They planned this before you ever had a say." We filed a cease and desist order, citing trespassing, harassment, and Linda's impersonation of me to contractors. I caught a worker admitting Linda told them I'd approved late-night concrete pours. The HOA responded by doubling down, scheduling a secret board meeting. But not everyone was in Linda's pocket. A board member, Claire, slipped me a recording of the meeting where Linda urged the board to retroactively declare my land community space under a fabricated emergency clause. "He won't fight this to the end," she said. "It's easier to apologize later." That line became our battle cry. I posted a detailed account on the neighborhood's online forum, attaching the recording, drone footage, and permit denials. The response was explosive: hundreds of comments, shares, and calls for Linda's ouster. Residents who'd cowered under her rule for years found their voices. Linda showed up at my gate that night, livid, demanding I retract my lies. I pointed to my new security camera and started recording. She froze, then fled, her threats echoing in the dark. The lawsuit Ethan filed was a masterpiece. $2.5 million for trespassing, property damage, fraud, defamation, and emotional distress. The court date loomed, and Linda's bravado crumbled. She hired a lawyer who looked like he'd rather be anywhere else, while Ethan arrived with binders of evidence and a calm that unnerved everyone. In court, Linda's team claimed boundary confusion and good faith. Ethan dismantled them, projecting drone footage, survey maps, and Crestview's shady invoices. The newsletter and Linda's recorded admission sealed her fate. When I took the stand, I spoke of the land's meaning, how it held Emily's memory, how I'd poured my soul into it. "They didn't just take my property," I said. "They tried to erase me from it." The judge, a no-nonsense veteran of property disputes, didn't deliberate long. The HOA was liable on all counts: $2.5 million in damages, demolition of the pool within 90 days, and a financial audit. Linda was barred from HOA leadership pending a fraud investigation. As the gavel fell, Linda sat motionless, her empire in ruins. Outside, neighbors applauded, not a roar, but a quiet acknowledgement. Reporters asked for comments. I kept it simple. Property laws exist for a reason. Community doesn't mean control. That night, I stood by the pool's edge, now a silent scar. It wasn't just a win, it was a reclamation. Demolition began weeks later, the pool reduced to rubble under the whine of machinery. Linda vanished, resigning under pressure after the audit uncovered more fraud tied to her family. Neighbors rallied, some bringing tools to rebuild my fence, others planting a new cherry sapling. Claire, now HOA president, abolished anonymous complaints and opened the board to residents. I used the settlement to transform my barn into a community workshop, hosting veterans and teens to build furniture and memories. The land healed, wildflowers blooming where concrete once lay. I hung a sign by the fence, private property respect required. It wasn't just a boundary, it was a story. They tried to steal my home, but I built something strong, a legacy of roots, resilience, and a community that learned to stand up. Let them come with their clipboards. I was ready. If you were the one in this story, how would you react? Would you stand up and fight back, or accept the unreasonable pressure and control from the HOA? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video with more people. Your small action gives us the motivation to keep bringing you more intense and engaging stories. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.